Hello, and welcome to Secrets from Athletes, where we dive into what makes a top athlete and how you can apply their routines and mindsets to your own life. I'm your host, Andre Schull, and today's a little bit of a special episode. I don't have anyone on with me today, but I do want to talk about one thing, and that is the SAT. And that's a big thing, especially for my fellow high schoolers, as SAT is a big thing for a lot of good colleges to get into, that you need to get a good score on it. I thankfully just finished taking it forever. I got a 1500, and I want to talk about how I saw that rowing converted a lot into prepping and getting me that score. There's three major points I want to go over, which are consistency, repetition, one skill at a time, and then, of course, putting in the hard work. So, let's dive right in. Starting with the first point, which is consistency and repetition is what gets the job done. I saw that especially with rowing, since it's basically the same sport, same motion, over and over and over again. You do the same motion for hours on end. It's different from a lot of other sports like basketball, football, those other team sports where there's different plays, you have different shots, you have different passes, all sorts of different things. Rowing, nope, it's just the same motion over and over and over again. This allows someone to perfect it a lot. This is something I've seen that helped me a lot with prepping for the SAT, is that I got used to being able to do something over and over and over and deliver every single time. And honestly, I feel like that's one of the biggest things for the SAT, because in the end, I feel it's kind of not exactly a game, but you need to study to be good on the SAT. You need to play the game of the SAT. Know which questions to attack first, how to attack the questions. And I saw that with my own prep, where I would do hours and I just do the same type of question over and over and over again. See what I did wrong, why I got it wrong, and then continue doing the same question until each time I did it, it was consistent. There is this quote where I by no means applied this to my SAT, but there's this quote where good athletes do something until they get it right. Great athletes do something until they can't get it wrong. This is that very similar thing with consistency and repetition, doing it over and over and over again. Of course, I kind of did it with the SAT till I got it right, but with other bigger ideas and bigger skills, doing it until you can't get it wrong. That it's just ingrained into you, that muscle memory, which I feel helped me on the test day, where I just would walk in there, see the questions, I'm like, oh, I've done hundreds of this type of question. That's easy. It's this, 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 and this. The next part I feel that really helped with my SAT at least is because there were specific parts I struggled with. I focused on one specific skill at a time. This is very similar in rowing, as the rowing stroke, even though it's a very looks simple, there's a lot of complicated parts that go into it, saying that there's the catch, the drive, the finish, and the recovery. There's 4 different parts right there. Each part you have specific degree your blade should enter the water, degree your body should be tilted over, if your arm should be straight, bent, all sorts of things. When you're the sequencing of your body, all sorts of things like this. And of course, especially starting, and even when I've been doing this for 4 years, I still have some stuff to work on with my technique, but I can't work on every single thing I have to deal with at one time, because then it overwhelms me and I can't truly focus on making one thing good, because in a sense, I'm just kind of half-assing everything. So it's more putting that full attention into one part at a time. So for rowing, one big example of mine is we have this thing called backing the blade in, where you're kind of putting the blade in early, stopping your momentum in the boat, but that allows you to get the best power conversion at the very top of a stroke of a catch to then put the most power into the stroke. That was something I struggled with a lot, so I purely focused on that skill for a lot until in the case of a quote I said earlier, couldn't do it wrong. A similar thing with SATs is at first grammar, I didn't know what I was doing. I would get those questions wrong a lot, so then I'd go through and I'm like, okay, I'm doing this whole week, I'm focusing only on grammar, knowing the rules, knowing the patterns, knowing it so that when I look at a question, I don't need to read the whole passage, I read the parts that are important and be like, okay, it's this. Working on something until I can't get it wrong. And then I did the same thing with purpose text, where that was another thing I struggled with was, what's the purpose of this text, as I read into it too much. So I took a very cold approach and would focus, what are they telling me, and then why is each answer wrong, which I think is a really great thing I learned while doing stuff for the SAT. It's not why is each answer right, but why is each answer wrong, until you can find a question that isn't wrong. Then again, I did that with vocab, doing roots and just common vocab words, and finally geometry, as I did not like geometry at all, but I kind of put myself to get through that. Next, and one of the more final points I have of my 3 main points, is put in the hard work and push through. This is something I've seen a lot with rowing, as it's a sport where you get as much as you put into it. And the technique, everything you get from a sport, being able to row well, you have to go through hard work and pain. For example, being good on the water, you tear up your hands, you get blisters. That's inevitable part of it. To reach, a new personal record or to win a race, you're going to have to push to that pain boundary and push through it. And with rowing, especially since it's the same monotonous motion over and over and again, and when you do it for long times, it gets hard, and you're basically doing the same thing, except you need to put in so much more effort just to do the same motion you were doing easier maybe an hour ago. But it's just pushing through, seeing that the end justifies the means. And I feel that is also very important with SATs itself, as doing those long blocks of studying, and all the questions are the same, all very similar topics, and they just aren't coming to you like, how's this the purpose? How is this not part of a purpose? And just reading these long blocks of text, getting tired while doing that. That's what I feel where that kind of that dedication, that discipline of working hard, pushing through, can truly get you to a good SAT score. And then something similar I kind of thought of with rowing just now, honestly, is with timing for races, like time trials or just straight in rowing for high schoolers. It's 1,500-meter races, and the SAT with timing for the test, I feel that it can be fairly similar. As in rowing, you kind of have your race plan, like, okay, we will make a move 250 meters in, we have our start sequence. Then halfway in, if we're close to someone else, we make another move, go from there, like last 300 meters, we do all-out sprint, things like that. You kind of have to plan it out and then adapt as it goes along. Like maybe another boat walked up on you more. I feel like this is very similar in the case of the SAT, as you kind of have a plan ahead of time. My plan, honestly, was just go up in numerical order of the questions. It worked for me, not going to work for everyone, but that was my plan. I would go type a question, and I'd say, give myself 45 seconds to a minute, depending on if it was math or English, to solve a question. If I get it, great, move on. If I don't, flag it, come back to it. A kind of similar thing, we don't really do this in rowing, but it's like, if you try to make your first move and it gets stopped, okay, fine, continue with the plan, keep going on, or in the case of the SAT, move on to the next question, but come back, try to hit through that question, or in this case, walk through another boat in rowing. Yeah, that's my tips. Everyone who's in high school as well, I wish you guys luck with the SAT. Once you get it done, get the score you want, it's a great feeling. And then thank you all for tuning to Secrets from Athletes. Make sure to follow on Instagram at secrets_from_athletes. We'll be back with more secrets from athletes and our regular programming to help you refine your mindsets and routines. All of this next week. Thank you.